the Oba right here on Mix 1080 AM WUFO, talking about the world of sports on an interesting Saturday afternoon. Before we get started, we have a lot to talk about here in the world of sports. I certainly want to start by thanking my elder, Eva Doyle, for honoring me with the Eye on History Award earlier this afternoon. And there, I thank all of you that came out in attendance of receiving that particular award. One of the great honors of my life, seeing my brother Ted Kirkland there and others that came out. Brother Greg Glover is here with me, my mom, my wife, Queen Alima, all of you that came out. I thank you, Brother Anthony Pendergrass, Brother Robinson, Brother Fisher, all of you that came out. If I don't mention all of your names, Brother Shango, yes, his brother, all of you, Brother Ruffin, I thank all of you that came out in support of this, one of the highlights of my life. But before I get started, I do recognize this is my sports show, and I have a very wide-ranging audience. But first of all, I am a person of African ascent. I am so deeply troubled by these acts of domestic terror against African people that I must say something. What happened in Charleston, South Carolina, is nothing new to us. This has been happening since we've been over here, and it was happening in Africa before many of us got here. Acts of domestic terror have been a continued event. The problem is how we're answering it. I do not agree with how our leadership goes about these crises. And they come in like firefighters to put out fires rather than dealing with the reality that a people have been under attack for years. Have you forgotten what happened in Rosewood? Have you forgotten what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, on Black Wall Street? Have you forgotten between 1995 and 2000, more than 297 African churches were burned to the ground or bombed? If there were 900 or more attacks, we were 1/3 of those attacks. Is it an accident that this country is supposed to be in rebound, yet those of African descent are double the amount of the unemployment rate? Among your males, it's more than 3 times that amount. Have you forgotten that some of these killers that have come into our community look like you and me? This is just not a white person. Have you forgotten what Marcus Chenault did? Have you forgotten Wayne Williams, who has now admitted that he was trained by the CIA? This is an attack on people that are targeted that will make a difference in our community. What did that guy say when he got to the church? He asked for the pastor, who's a state senator, a rising star amongst Southern politicians, in a state that still flies the Confederate flag. He stayed amongst them for an hour and then said, "Y'all been so good to me, but I've got to complete my mission." Isn't that what he said? That's what he said. He reloaded his gun 5 times to complete his mission. This is not the first time. As I mentioned earlier, Wayne Williams was trained by the CIA in different techniques of murder, specializing in asphyxiation and chokeholds. How did those children die in Atlanta?
Asphyxiation.
Marcus Chenault killed Dr. King's mother while she played the organ at Ebenezer Baptist Church. These are people that have been programmed and have a mission to destabilize leadership that can change the condition of a people that have been on the bottom of this country for generations. And it is how we deal with these situations that bothers me the most. You can't keep singing "We Shall Overcome" when time after time it's you that's getting killed. It's you that's being targeted. Have you forgotten that John Allen Muhammad and Lee Allen Malvo, the DC snipers, you remember them? Muhammad was a military specialist in what he did. Brainwashed this kid. Gave them a mission. The mission was to kill Bobby Ken Bridges. Look him up. Google him. He was the founder of the Power Movement. And then later founded the Mata Network. Programs that could have changed the condition of a people that is on the bottom of this country in every facet that you can think of. You're not thinking. And the leadership that you've anointed as leaders, they're not coming in to solve problems. They're coming in to put fires out so that there's not a huge destruction of commercial property. That there's not a revolt amongst people that have had enough of an attack against them. No one's calling for an investigation of these attackers with their blank faces. Look at the Colorado shooter. Look at his eyes. Google him. They have a blank stare. Have you seen the movie Halloween and Michael Myers? He had that blank stare of a killer. You tell me they don't have the same eyes. Look at Marcus Chenault. Look at John Muhammad. These are people that are sent on a mission to destroy, kill, and destabilize for a reason. That Pastor Pinckney was a rising star. He had influence across both sides of the aisle. Respected. Just like this guy you noticed a few years ago. Came out of nowhere. Was a state senator. And is now the president of the United States of the new republic. You think this gentleman put the same fear into those that don't want that? He was targeted. And it was a mission. And yes, I do sports, but I'm not afraid to tell you the truth. And until we answer these types of Manchurian candidate type operatives, that we had one right here. When I was a senior in high school, his name was Joseph Christopher. You call him the .22 caliber killer. Have you forgotten about him? He had a mission to kill, destabilize, put fear into communities, and keep them from rising above the fray of dysfunction that we are seeing in this city still. Yet we don't answer the bell when it's time to deal with this issue. That is an issue that we have to solve today. And get rid of this leadership that no longer leads. They work for those that are sending the people to do this stuff. Their job is to put fires out. They're not representing you. They're not representing your hurt. You can't forgive criminal acts. These are criminal acts. And they're sent out by groups that want to keep you on the bottom of this country systematically. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Wayne Williams. All of them. And until you deal with that, they're just going to keep happening. You must have an answer for terrorist acts against an innocent group of people. And this has been African people. They did not attack that church because he was a Christian. They were Christians. They attacked the church because they were black. And they had targeted the pastor, who was ordained a minister at the age of 13. He was the youngest man elected to the state senate. He had more respect across the aisle than any of his colleagues. And he is now a distant memory because he was taken out on purpose. He came there and asked for him. Don't tell me that I'm not telling you the truth. And until you realize that, and until you deal with it, these events are going to keep happening. They did the same thing to leader after leader, generation after generation. This is nothing new. You can't sit there and sing, "We shall overcome," and I'm going to forgive everybody, and it keeps happening again. You must make a demand against this, and you must move against it, even if it means self-defense at all costs. Now, I'm going to take a break, and I'll be ready to do sports. But I had to get that off my chest. And I don't care who likes it or not. And I don't care if I talked about some of your so-called leaders, because that's what they are, firefighters. Their job is to put fires out. They're not leading anybody because they're not dealing with the root of the problem. You're not looking at these guys as they come, and when they grab them, they have blank stares. They're ungodly. There's nothingness behind them. These are people that have been programmed for a mission to destabilize your community. And you do nothing to stop this process. Just like they did in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Rosewood. Every time a situation arrives where you want to rise up against poverty, deprivation, gentrification, and all of the ills of this society, they send someone to kill your leadership. And you don't want to deal with it. You keep listening. It's an isolated incident. No. History, as Malcolm said, is most qualified to reward our research. We're going to take a short break. We're going to talk a little sports. A lot going on. I want to talk to you. 837-1112. Got my main man in studio with me, the Deacon Gregory Glover, and all you sick leaders out there. He is here to lay hands on all y'all to heal you from your misguided behavior. We'll be back here. #1 sports show in the nation. I'm the Mighty Ogre. I say whatever I want to. I don't care if you like me or not. I'm going to tell the truth. You better examine all circumstances involved with acts like this before you draw conclusions based on what the media tells you. The media. You know? The media. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back here. #1 sports show in the nation. 837-1112.